It is 6:30 on Monday, December 8th, 2025. We'll go ahead and call the regular meeting of the McGregor City Council to order. Please, everybody stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Do we have any public comments? Nobody signed up for public comments. All right, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Consider approving minutes of council meeting held on November 10th, 2025. I looked over them myself. They are included in your packet. That is the way I remember having it. You have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. That motion carries. Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding proposal from Walker Partners to provide professional surveying and civil engineering services to the city of McGregor in connection with the proposed Phase 2 street improvements.
Phase 1 is finishing up. Jacob's here to talk to you about the agreement. This is what we have to do every time before we kick one of these off. This will get them probably in the design phase. It's probably already done some of it, and then bid phase and award phase. So, Jacob.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. As Kevin mentioned, Phase 1 is underway right now. And so up on the screen here, we have all of the streets that were identified as part of Phase 1 and Phase 2. So that's Phase 1 being the red streets and Phase 2 being the blue streets. The green would be work to be done by city staff when available. And so obviously, again, the red streets are either completed already, such as Laurel, Willow Way, and Ash, and then the red streets, 10th and Harrison, are under construction as we speak. And again, the blue streets are what were identified originally. Does this work? Yep. This is kind of where we're at today. Again, red streets being Phase 1, so you can see the only change in that is that 4th Street came off. The orange are overlays or chip seals that have been done by city staff. And so again, some of that, except for Johnson Drive, that was the ARPA funded project that we did about a year or so ago. And the new Phase 2 streets would be are again the blue streets. The only major change there is I think we changed from 9th Street and moved it over to Bowie. 3rd Street is still included along with Patricia Circle. And so included within the proposal you have before you is our surveying, engineering, bidding, construction admin, and RPR or inspection services for those 3 streets that you see before you on the screen. So that is the proposal that we have. Those would be our Phase 2 streets that would fall within the remaining budget that we have as part of the road bond.
What is your remaining budget as part of the road bond?
That is a great question. I don't know exactly what it is, Kevin. I believe it was a little over the 1.5 that is shown here as our EOPC. I think it was in the 1.7 range, if I'm remembering correctly.
Would it hurt your feelings if I told you I think you've got a little more money than that?
No, sir.
I don't really care about your feelings. Chad, does it hurt your feelings if we have a little more money than that?
Not at all.
Okay. Visiting with Lee last week, I asked him to look all the numbers up, and we've got $950,000, give or take, interest money that we've collected on this whole thing. So we'll be talking about extending some of this. I think our priority, it'll depend on y'all when the time comes, because 3rd Street needs to be done, so it's basically good. We've got 2 ways, east and west, that go from Johnson Street to Johnson Drive. One is Third and the other is Fifth. Fifth is got a lot more stop signs and dips. Both of them have an offset. The one on Third obviously is at the junior high. But those are your east-west collectors, sort of thoroughfares. I'd hate to call them a thoroughfare. But, and I think the current plan on Third is to come down to Harrison. Is that right? I thought that's what I read. But anyway, I want to try to get it from Adams all the way well, if we can. And that's one thing we can do. We can look at some other streets as well. So y'all be thinking about that. They'll get started and we'll add that new number in there. We've got to be careful with it because cost, everything else, but that's a substantial amount of money to do a little bit more with anyway.
Sure. Yeah, Kevin, I believe it's, think I have in the proposal Taft. It's kind of where Taft and Harrison are all kind of offset in that one
Yeah.
location, kind of back behind the school.
Right.
So it's somewhere in there.
A couple of 3 more blocks maybe.
Yeah.
If we can get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, that one definitely needs to be done.
Mayor, on the Third Street where the old elementary school was, is the construction that's gonna be going on there, will that interfere with the rehab of that street?
Well, no, that's part of what will be done. Part of what's gonna be dictating what happens there is a lot of that parking area actually belonged to the school and is now owned by George Eggets, who's looking at doing the neighborhood there, and I think they've brought that back out. So some of the changes there are gonna impact a little bit of the drainage, but drainage is a major function of that part of Third, and we're gonna have to address it because it cuts across there in so many ways now, it's not even funny. So I don't know what their design's gonna be. I know they've been working with the engineer for, what's the name of that, Blue Bonnet?
Blue Bonnet. Yeah.
Blue Bonnet Village is the name that he's put on it right
I
now.
just didn't know when they were anticipating getting started with that.
We have been coordinating with their engineer as far as their design of it goes and how that would affect the roadway.
Alex had a question this weekend about timing, and go ahead and hiring them, they get the design done, then you go to bid, and then you award bid, and then you set up your schedule. So the specific timings will be forthcoming, but he can give you an idea of that.
Yeah, anticipated would be that, obviously, if y'all move forward with this project, then we would start with survey pretty quickly. We have the availability with our survey crews. So just with the holidays, say by the end of January, we would have everything surveyed and reduced so we could start design. Probably a 4 to 5 month design, so middle of next year, we would be going out for bid, which is about a 1 month process. And then anticipating a 7-month construction timeline. So probably first part of 2027, we would anticipate to be complete with all the improvements.
Another question that I had, there was a couple changes like 4th Street and Mover added. What kind of drives that change when you look originally proposed versus what we have now?
Sorry, repeat, what was your question?
There was like 4th Street was removed this
Right.
time in Booth. What kind of drives that change?
Really just communicating with city staff and where the needs are. My understanding is that the water line on 4th Street was replaced, say, within the last 10 to 15 years. Whereas on Bowie, they have a lot of water line issues. And so, with the street conditions kind of being the same, then we decided to go with Bowie. That way we could go ahead and replace that water line before redoing the street, and taking 4th Street off.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have any more questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Walker Partners to provide architectural surveying and civil engineering services to the city of McGregor in connection with the proposed phase 2 street improvements.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item 3, discussion and possible action regarding the municipal separate storm sewer system, MS4, as presented by Walker Partners.
Council, federally, we've been caught in this loop now. We were not caught in this loop till last year, I guess. And so now you get to do something that a whole lot of other cities have been doing. And this gentleman attached to Walker Partners loves doing it.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, so here with me tonight is Curtis Beidle. He's been doing this for,
Since the phase 2 started in 2002.
so a good while, so he knows this. He was joking earlier that he knows the BMPs like the back of his hand. He can do them in his sleep. So I'm gonna let him do all the talking, but hope you enjoy the presentation.
So,
And that includes development of programs for Killeen and Temple and Georgetown and Wichita Falls and Tyler and Hurst. So quite a few of those early phase 2 programs. So as Kevin mentioned, you know, the city was exempt from the phase 2 permit requirements. Basically, this program comes out of the Clean Water Act of 1972 or so. They spent the first couple of decades of that getting a hold of the point source pollution, which would be pipes sticking out of a bank, actually discharging stuff into the rivers and creeks. Then in 1990, they started off with the non-point source program, which is intended to address pollution that gets in our waterways that doesn't have a particular spot that it originates from. So like litter doesn't really originate from any one particular spot, it's just from all over the place. So it requires more program type methods to try to manage that pollution. So they let the big cities go first, and that was phase 1 of the MS4 program for cities over 100,000. And then they started up the phase 2 program for cities less than 100,000. I think that permit originally went into effect in 2008 or so. It applies to cities that have urbanized area according to the census, which is a population density of 1,000 people per square mile that's attached to a mass of more than 50,000 people. So McGregor had that population density, but you guys weren't attached to a population more than 50,000 in the census of 2010. And then in the 2020 census, there's been enough development along 84 that y'all have now become attached to the Waco mass of more than 50,000. So looking at that 2020 census, the TCEQ back in December notified the city that y'all are now a newly regulated MS4 and you must comply with the phase 2 MS4 requirements. So they required the city to submit a notice of intent to comply with the general permit by February the 11th, which was a really quick turnaround. So we helped kind of put together an initial stormwater management plan of the minimum requirements of the permit so that the city could submit that NOI and truly have a stormwater management plan as well to do that. But then we followed it up with an effort to really take a harder look and tailor the program to McGregor to make it more cost effective for you to implement. So that's what we'll be presenting to you tonight. In terms of the terminology, all the different federal programs have their little acronyms. So, you know, probably the main one is the MS4, which is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. So it's got 4 S's after the M, which is the MS4. It's really the program is a series of best management practices, which are different things that you could do to try to keep water, either keep water out of the runoff or pollution out of the runoff, or treat it once it's there. And then the collection of those best management practices is your stormwater management program, which is addressing 6 different minimum control measures that we'll go into in a little bit more detail. It is a general permit program, so as long as you tell the TCEQ that the city intends to comply with the conditions of that general permit, then the city is covered under that general permit. So in terms of the different types of stormwater permits, That sometimes gets confusing because, you know, there are construction general permits, which are the stormwater pollution prevention plans that are required for like a development, and that's why they have to put the silt fence around the development to keep. That's a whole different permit from the TCQ. And then they have what's called the industrial or multi-sectoral general permit, which is permits for specific facilities, such as the airport is covered under one of those sector codes, as well as landfills or treatment plants. So that's also another separate general permit the TCQ has. The one we're talking about tonight is the small MS4 general permit for municipal operations. So these are the 6 minimum control measures, or categories really, that they've grouped the BMPs into for public education and outreach and public involvement. And they've got a series that they require for detecting illicit discharges, and if there are any that are found, then eliminating those illicit discharges. They've got one for construction site stormwater runoff control, which kind of relates to the statewide construction general permit. Then they've got one for post-construction stormwater management, which is what is there permanently to treat the runoff after construction is complete. And then the last one is pollution and prevention and good housekeeping for municipal operations. So the next series of slides shows the BMPs that we've developed for McGregor for your program, with the eye towards really taking credit for the existing things you're already doing, or things that it would not cost a lot or take a lot of extra effort to do. So in terms of the stormwater website, that would be an additional page on the city website where information about stormwater can be hosted and advertising about some of the public involvement can be done. And it's a cost-effective way of getting the information out to your citizens. The second one is a mass mail out done, I think we said once a year. And normally that would be utility bill inserts, but since you guys don't send out an envelope, it's just a postcard. And there's not a lot of space on the existing water bill postcard, just one line. So really we thought it would be more effective to develop a separate postcard with a good graphic message and then mail that out to the water utility mailing list once a year. And then the third one is a social media campaign, which is just quarterly messages posted to your Twitter and Facebook accounts, which is also pretty cost effective. In terms of public involvement, we're really just taking credit for some of the events that y'all already do. The trash off and cleanup events are very helpful because that's collecting stuff that could wind up in the creeks. And then the second one is really the public involvement opportunity. I mean, y'all get a lot of kids out for the Hay Barn Halloween Festival each year. I mean, 700 to 800 kids, mostly from the McGregor area. And that's a great opportunity to pass out some stormwater information and connect with kids and their parents. So really just hosting a table at that festival is what we found to be the most effective involvement effort. And then the third one is just posting the stormwater management plan on the stormwater website so that residents can get a copy of it if they need it. The third minimum control measure is illicit discharge detection and elimination. And all 6 of these BMPs are specifically required by the permit, so we're not doing anything beyond what the permit requires. This category is pretty expensive for some of the larger phase 2 cities that have a lot of storm drain network. Luckily in McGregor, there's not as much storm drain, so even though these procedures look like they're expensive, there's not as many opportunities to need to run a CCTV camera up a storm drain pipe or what have you. So we will be mapping the outfalls, which are really just the discharge point discharge locations to each of the creeks. And then you'll need to develop and pass an illicit discharge ordinance that just prohibits discharge of anything other than water to the creeks in McGregor. We'll be providing some training to city staff on that process of really the response procedures. And then the stormwater hotline is pretty much the code enforcement phone number. That's the number right there. That's who you would call to report an issue, and then developing response procedures for that in terms of, you know, when it's associated, I mean, just who to call and who to route that to, which will provide for a more effective response. And then if there is, you know, pollution that's found in the creek, then we would have procedures for investigating the source of that. And if it's, you know, something that's plumbed to a storm drain pipe, then, you know, requiring, that to be disconnected or eliminated. So, as I said, that's a really involved minimum control measure for larger phase 2 cities, but I don't think it will cost McGregor nearly as much. In terms of the 4th minimum control measure for construction site runoff control, again, all 5 of these are required by the permit. The state construction general permit is for, well, it's got 2 categories. The large sites are the ones that are 5 acres and above, and they have to put together a stormwater management plan that meets that construction general permit and submit that to the TCEQ and pay a fee each year for the TCEQ to monitor that. For the medium size, from 1 acre to 5 acre, they still have to prepare the SWIP, but they submit that to the MS4 operator, which is the city. And the city would need to log those in and include that in the annual report at the end of the year in terms of how many they've received. And then this program, the erosion control ordinance, would be for sites that are smaller than 1 acre in McGregor. And to require some level of erosion control, probably not up to the standard of the construction general permit, but at least having a site plan with your outfalls identified and how you're going to prevent, you know, silt and whatnot from running off of the site. So from that perspective, the second one is review of erosion control site plans, which is just looking at a lot of the information that you already receive. There is some construction inspection requirement, although we believe that could be done kind of as part of your current building inspection process by adding maybe a couple of additional checkpoints for the inspector to look at during normal inspections. The stormwater hotline satisfies the requirement of the public to have a place to call if they see dirt going into the road, you know, and report that. And then, again, some staff training for the construction procedures. The 5th minimum control measure is post-construction stormwater management for new development, which this one is a little bit different because it is not required of developers right now. So it will be a new development requirement. There's a lot of examples of post-construction best management practices they could do. A lot of different areas. In fact, the new stormwater management or drainage criteria manual for the city of Waco has a number of post-construction BMPs laid out in that. So it would be a matter of looking at how McGregor may require some of those. I don't think you need to require all, but you know, a smaller subset of that in the post-construction ordinance. And then as development occurs, looking to make sure that they are providing the post-construction BMPs that they need to. The third one is about long-term operation and maintenance of these post-construction BMPs, because if they fill up with sediment, they stop working how they're supposed to. And so that would either be getting, an operation and maintenance agreement with the property owner, or the city being able to maintain that on a certain basis. So, but that'll be kind of developed as the BMPs are proposed in the future. And then minimum control measure number 6 is pollution prevention and good housekeeping for municipal operations. Starts off with an inventory of the city's facilities that, and then really that inventory of facilities, we'd go through and do assessments of those facilities under the 5th BMP and identify what pollutants of concern might come off of a facility like that, and if there are any BMPs that we can use to prevent that. And then if we do identify if the city does identify the BMPs, then inspecting that to make sure that they're properly maintained. If it's a structural control, doing the maintenance. Getting back up to GH2, that's the employee training on stormwater management as well. GH3 is a requirement for proper disposal of any kind of waste that's taken out of the creeks. And GH4 is when the city hires a contractor doing work around one of the creeks to make sure that contractor has proper oversight to prevent pollution from getting into the creeks. So the first 9 are required by the permit, but number 10 is taking credit for the current street sweeping that the city does, setting a goal of sweeping about 10 miles a month, which is an achievable level of cleaning, because that's removing pollutants straight off the roadway that otherwise would go down and go into the creek. And then the last one, GH11 for landscape and lawn care, is recognizing that the city already has a licensed applicator as part of the Parks Department that's been through the training and certification on how much fertilizer and how much pesticide to apply and the rates, which kind of prevents the over application of those that could then run off into the creek. So, but you're already doing that. It's just saying that you would continue to maintain that license. So for each one of these BMPs that were just listed, we developed a measurable goal and a schedule. It has to be implemented over the next 5 years, which is really the next 4 years. The permit started back January 1st. So year 1 ends on December 31st. And then, we gave a rational statement of why that BMP was chosen. We maximized coordination with existing city programs, because that makes it less costly for you guys to implement. The city will need to produce an annual report each year to the TCQ that's due 90 days after the end of the permit year. And it needs to be signed and certified with the TCQ's requirements for who can sign a report, which I think is probably either the mayor or the city manager, according to that section of the TAC. But so that's kind of the program in a nutshell. I guess the next steps will be consideration of adopting the updated stormwater management plan. Then, the city will finish collecting the information to show that the goals that we have for year 1 were met. And as part of the year 1 annual report, we'll be developing the storm drain outfall map and setting up some other GIS maps for the city to be able to use for that year one annual report that's due in March. And we'll provide you with a draft of that. So with that, I'll turn it over for questions. Sorry if that was a lot of information.
Well, it is a lot of information, and it's a lot of mandates that are kind of sprung on us by TCEQ that
Absolutely.
that we have to deal with. We-
But we're looking good in year one. I know it's about to close, and there was a lot of few requirements in.
Yeah, we didn't put many requirements in year one other than what's already been done. So,
You're based on the calendar year or just?
based on the calendar year, so, yep.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to accept.
I make a motion, we accept the municipal storm sewer system as presented by Walker Partners.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Move on to item 4, discussion possible action regarding agreement with Municipal Planning Services LLC.
Good evening, council. This is a update to agreement that we have with this consulting service. Just updating some of their pricing as we consult with them, different hourly rates depending on the service that they provide for us. It is a budgeted item. It is something that was in the budget for this last year, has been budgeted the last couple years. This year, we did receive one invoice for them for some work that they did develop, doing the vegetation development ordinance for us. But that's the only thing that we have been billed for so far. They do consult for us on the TERS, but that comes out of a different budget, so it's not, the way that it works with the city budget is different. But this is an update to the agreement if we use their on-call services.
All right, does anybody have any questions for Brian on that? You remember where that is in the budget?
I do not. Did get with Lee today to confirm that there is a specific component of that in there, but I don't know where. Yeah. Do you know where that comes out of?
I don't want to say with confidence, but I think it was consulting and non-departmental general fund, so like 10,500, 0750, I think.
All right. Does council have any questions for Brian?
What did we spend with them this last year?
It's a little over $11,000.
Now, the TERS, we paid for it through Knudsen, yeah.
Knudsen.
Out of Houston. And that's handled quite a bit differently. And there's a chance these people, they will be in the hunt for your comprehensive plan grant money, which will be funded into that.
All right. Well, I will entertain a motion on this one.
I make a motion, we approve the agreement with the municipal planning services.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item 5, we're gonna go ahead and skip. That is not ready yet. Item 6, discussion and possible action regarding approval to change the city's Christmas holiday this year from December 24th and 25th to a Wednesday and Thursday to December 25th and 26th, a Thursday and Friday.
It's just a matter of where it falls this year. Being gone for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and then coming back for Friday is just a a lot easier to, it's a lot easier to do Christmas Day and the day after Christmas and have a 4-day weekend, similar to Thanksgiving.
Realistically, if you take 2 days off, come back on Friday, how productive are you gonna be anyway?
Exactly.
Well, and the other thing is, there won't be many people show up, and we always have the contact information posted in case something does come up, but it's a pretty dead day.
All right. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the change of the city's Christmas holiday this year from December 24th and 25th, Wednesday and Thursday, to December 25th and 26th, Thursday and Friday.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this?
One question. How did the city, any feedback from the employees on coming in on the 24th? Or were they were just preference of the Friday over the Wednesday?
We didn't really get any feedback, but what they'll do is if they take the 24th, they'll take a vacation day. And there may be some of that. It's, quite frankly, there's always quite a bit of that around Christmas anyway.
I'm not gonna be in mind with this.
I usually post my number on Friday, and I have not gotten one call.
Oh, you just did.
I know I did. I'll be ready. It's not staying here.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item 7, receive investment report for quarter ending September 30, 2025. Lee, the floor is yours.
Mayor and council, thank y'all for y'all's time. It's going to be a pretty quick, just the investment report today. We still have the audit ongoing and a few adjustments to make, so we'd really get an inaccurate picture if we presented a financial summary for October as well. But let me go ahead and hop into the investment report here and just kind of give you a rundown. So cash and investments on hand, this is for the quarter ending September 30, 2025, so end of the fiscal year. So cash and investments on hand at the end of the year were $25,156,545. That decreased from the last quarter by $3,211,000, as expected as we spend money on projects. The interest earned in the third quarter, the calendar year 2025, was $303,000. So that brings our fiscal year to date interest earnings to just over $1 million. The city doesn't carry any security instruments on its books that are traded on the open market. It's 100% of market value. Don't really think there's anything glaring in there, but if y'all have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to look into them. Yeah, thank y'all.
Thanks, Lee.
Right. So, at this time, we're going into executive session, closed meeting pursuant to Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.071 Legal, Section 551.072 Real Estate, and Section 551.087 Economic Developments. We're going to go in under legal.
Real estate too,
All right, so we'll go ahead and go into closed session at 7:09. of executive session at 7:51. And we will hit item number 9, discussion of possible action regarding amendment to development agreement with Allied.
Council, you have the map in front of you. All they wanted to do was change their option agreement on their option partial, expand it a little bit and turn it into 3 different options. And city attorney has been involved with it since the very beginning. They have come back and agreed to the amendment as is, and so I present it to you for approval.
All right, does council have any questions on this item? I will entertain a motion.
Motion we approve Allied Fabricators agreement. Amendment. Amendment. To the agreement, whatever.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item number 10, discussion of possible action regarding amendment to development agreement with Sensato.
Council, as you know, the original development agreement with Sensato was 2 national branded fast food type operations. They have now asked to add a national branded convenience store to that, and I would recommend that we do so.
All right, do we have any questions? I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve amendment to development agreement with the state.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay? That motion carries. Item 11, announcements from the city manager.
Christmas parade's this Saturday, is that correct?
That is correct.
And do we know any more about the tinsel run that I think is supposed to take place Saturday or the other day?
Return phone call.
We will continue to pursue that, and the housing market seems to be heating up a little bit. That's all I have.
All right, any requests or comments from council? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy Christmas and a very safe New Year. And with that, we will close this meeting at 7:54.
Thank you all so much. I'm sorry?